Shabbat Shalom, and this is 10 minutes of Torah. Not 12 scouts, one from each tribe, who are sent to the land of Israel, and not 2 scouts who give a good report of the land, but 10 minutes of Torah. Well, before beginning the words about the Torah, I want to make mention that we, of course, our thoughts and our prayers and our attention is drawn, of course, to the state of Israel, and we simply want to say that we hope they will accomplish what they seem to have been accomplishing, and that is to get rid of the existential threat of a nuclear Iran. And we hope and pray that there will be no more casualties and that Israel will be able to accomplish all that it needs to. I know my daughter, who is in Tel Aviv, has spent a lot of time in and out of shelters. Fortunately, she is safe and fine, and it seems like maybe Iran is not able to send any more ballistic missiles, or very few of them, to Israel. But anyway, we are certainly thinking and hoping, and perhaps by this time next week, we will know that Israel has been successful in getting rid of this existential threat and making sure that Iran will not be able to build a nuclear device anytime in the future. Our thoughts and our hearts and our prayers are all with them. Now, to this week's Torah portion. Well, the Torah portion is called Shlach Lecha, and it is the beginning of the travels of the Israelites in the desert. In order to conquer the land of Israel, Moses is instructed to send out 12 scouts. So, sometimes they're called spies, scouts. I'm not sure which is more appropriate. Kind of like scouts, but anyway, one from each tribe, as I said, to spy out, to scout out the land of Israel. And what is their job? Their job is to determine if the land is good and the people in the land. Are they many and are they strong? Are they few and are they weak? So they tour the land for 40 days. And they do indeed find that the land is a beautiful land. It is, as it says, flowing with milk and honey. That is, of course, even to this day, what we say about the land of Israel, a land of milk and honey. But they say the people who inhabit the land, there are a lot of them, and they're strong. And they say we cannot conquer the land. That is, 10 of the scouts say that. One of the scouts, Kalev ben Yefuna, from the tribe of Judah, dissents. And he says, no. Don't forget, as quoting Bob Dylan, but without knowing it, we have God on our side. Of course we can conquer the land. And he is joined later on by Yehoshua ben Nun, Joshua, who will succeed Moses. He is joined in dissent, saying that yes, we can. Dissent saying yes, but we can conquer the land. Well, when the people hear that the vast majority of the scouts say the land cannot be conquered, they become very upset and full of fear. And they want to rebel against Moses and Aaron and return to Egypt, sounding quite familiar to other situations where they've complained and want to return to Egypt. So God becomes angry, so to speak. I don't know if God ever becomes angry, but that's how the Torah is perceiving the situation. And God says to Moses, how long will this people spurn me, Moses? I'm going to get rid of them, and I'll make of you, Moses, a nation far more numerous than they are. Well, don't know. I would suggest that maybe God is testing Moses, but Moses rejects this offer, and he says to God, forgive the people. And God does, but indicates that there is a consequence to the action of these 12 scouts and the people. And God says that none of the people who came out of Egypt will be able to go into the land of Israel. They will wander for 40 years in the desert, except those 2 scouts who gave a good report, Caleb ben Yefuneh, Caleb, and Yehoshua ben Nun, Joshua. By the way, you notice who's not on that list, and that would be Aaron and Moses. Everybody except those 2 will die out in 40 years. Only those 2 will be privileged to go into the land. Well, the parasha continues with a number of miscellaneous laws. Among them, the laws concerning the wearing of tzitzit, fringes is the English translation, on a 4-cornered garment, right? You tie the tzitzit only if you are wearing a 4-cornered garment. If you're wearing a regular jacket or shirt that doesn't have 4 corners, no tzitzit. But if you're wearing a garment that has 4 corners, a talit is a good example, but there are other kinds of garments like that, you add tzitzit, or what they say are fringes. Now, it's a very interesting section of the Torah. The question, first of all, is why does it come here? By the way, this section of the Torah on tzitzit becomes very important to our liturgy. It is the 3rd paragraph of the Shema. Let me read it to you because I think we'll get a better idea of what it's about. Start with the Hebrew since it's familiar to many of us. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael v'amart aleihem v'asu lahem tzitzit al kanfei bigdehem ledorotam. The Lord said to Moses as follows, speak to the Israelites and instruct them to make for themselves tzitzit on the corners of their garments throughout the ages. Let them attach a cord of blue to the tzitzit at each corner. That shall be your fringe. You look at it and remember all of the commandments and observe them, so that you not follow your heart and your eyes in your lustful urges. Thus you shall be reminded to observe all my commandments and be holy to your God. I, the Lord, am your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, the Lord, your God. Ani Adonai Elohechem. We know that quite well. Okay, that's the paragraph. So what is it doing here? Well, first of all, interestingly, if you read it carefully, you'll see that it actually does relate back to those spies. Because the spies are told latur et haaretz, to, like actually in English, to take a tour, if you will, of the land, to move around the land, to scout out the land. Well, this is not a scouting out of the land, but this paragraph about tzitzit says, lo taturu, the same word. Do not let your heart go after those things that might be desirable but forbidden to you. Lo taturu. Don't wander the land. So it is tied in clearly with the word latur, lo taturu, to say that this actually belongs here and somehow is related, if you will, to the scouts. Now, the most important part of this paragraph, I have brought my tzitzit here because I have something that some of you have and most of you don't. You'll notice that my tzitzit has indeed what it says right here in the Torah, a blue thread. Why is it that the blue thread is required and why don't we have it anymore? Well, the answer is quite simple to both. The blue thread had to be dyed a very specific way, and we lost the recipe somewhere along the way. We have rediscovered it, but it has to do with a snail and its glands and a dye, and so it was lost for a while. We stopped doing it. Once again, you can now get tzitzit with that special blue. It's called techelet. Now, why is it blue? What did it matter? Well, in ancient times, dyed clothes were very, very expensive. As a matter of fact, only royalty would wear dyed clothes. What do we call that kind of blue that is for, oh yes, royal blue? It's called that because only royalty could afford it. This particular paragraph says to us that yes, royalty, they're the only ones who can afford an entirely blue outfit or garment, but everybody could afford a blue string. And it's to remind us that every individual is also royalty. We may not be able to afford an entire garment of blue, but this says to us, yes, but you know what? Every human being has royalty in them. So one thread is enough. And we've rediscovered that formula to make that one thread. And so it's with great pleasure that my talit and a number of others in the synagogue have that thread. Well, this has been 10 minutes of Torah with a special blue thread, not 12 spies to scout out the land, and not only 2 that come back with a good report, but 10 minutes of Torah. Shabbat Shalom.